I have a dream.
You can't connect the dots looking forward.
One small step for man.
You can only connect them looking
One
backwards.
giant leap for mankind.
I am the greatest.
You need to have support. How many are turning to starting their own businesses?
Decision is the ultimate power.
The greatest bands need great producers.
Music fans bought more than 1 billion individual songs from online services such as Apple's iTunes.
Trick yourself out of habits and find a new angle.
Anything is possible.
If it feels right, move forward. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it.
Every dream starts small.
Good morning, entrepreneurs around the world. This is our time, and our planet is our playing ground. We entrepreneurs will change our societies like no one has done it in the history of our world. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Show. Good morning. My name is Lacopo, and I will be your host for this new show where the focus will solely be on the best profession in the world, entrepreneurship. Every week, we take an honest look at a key question or topic relating to entrepreneurship. We break down the myths around it to find the real deal, and I will share my personal experiences in dealing with these issues. The objective is not to give you answers about what's right and wrong, but ultimately to share experiences, and hopefully it can help entrepreneurs make better decisions in their journey to changing our world. Now, this week's topic is very kind of a sensitive topic, and it's all about money. So the topic is show me the money. That's right, money. One of the key pieces to entrepreneurship's puzzle. Money, it seems, causes as many problems as it solves. It plays an essential part in the success of any company, but sometimes changes the entrepreneurs. And it sometimes also changes the people around them. So as an entrepreneur, money is certainly a reward. It's a challenge, a target, a means to an end, and a way to measure success. How do entrepreneurs deal with the money issue? So that is the topic we will touch throughout the segments of this show. So like usual, during the broadcast, I'm available on Twitter at Anthony Lacopo, one word. If ever you have any comments, suggestions, questions about the topics, I'll be there to answer them and have a discussion with you. But before we proceed with the question of the week or the topic of the week, let's look at the different key takeaways from the last show that we've done. The question during that show was the following: can a family survive a startup? What should come first, family or business? When an entrepreneur decides to bet on himself and launch his new project, does he put his family second and in danger of a breakup? Many entrepreneurs have succeeded tremendously in business while failing with their personal life. And one of the most common regrets I hear from experienced entrepreneurs is the regret of not being there for their children while they were growing up. So is it possible to think that a family can be happily ever after while one of its members starts a new company? Are the rewards of entrepreneurship worth losing everything else? And finally, is it possible to combine a successful startup with a family and have it all? Now, last episode or last show, I talked a lot about the role that your partner needs to have in any new ventures. And in my experience, one of the critical aspects was that we were able at a very early stage to kind of define both our respective roles. And that accepting that if we were going to succeed in the future, we needed to really invest a lot of work and time and effort in the short term. And we kind of realized that we can't have it all right away, that we needed to work and plan, and that later on in life we'd be able to enjoy the success. So early on in my relationship with my wife, it was kind of clear that she wanted to make sure that our kids were going to be well brought up and they would have a great education, and that I was going to go full speed ahead with my projects and my ambitions. So that was very clearly defined, and we both agreed upon it. And that was one of the crucial, I think, point why it kind of helped my relationship with my wife. But when I started my project so with my new company, one of the things that really caused problems between myself and my wife is that our entourage, our friends and families, were not really entrepreneurs. We didn't have that kind of support system where we could have compared and speak about what we were going through and living through. So there was a lot of problem because we're kind of comparing my lifestyle or what I'm doing and the amount of work hours and the dedication that I needed to have to make my project work to other people that had a different life or a different type of work. And that caused kind of, a problem because you couldn't really compare both. And also, the other problem was that my wife supported me, invested, like I mentioned during the last episode. She was kind of my angel investor that invested in me since 2001 when I decided to go to school intensively to do a lot of schooling, whether I did my MBA, my Bachelor of Law, etc., while she was waiting for me. So she was kind of really supporting. And then I started this project, and it was my project. I was alone in this. And that caused kind of a bit of friction, until I realized it, and I kind of decided, after months of deliberation with my mentors and coach, to finally just take my own decision and decided to make my wife work with me and to make her experience our project. And that was the moment where my project that I started alone became our project, and we're kind of living this one life together to make this project a success. And that's when everything started to turn around, because she kind of realized now what I was going through. She kind of realized what it was to be an entrepreneur and the importance and the responsibilities that I had and that we had as a company. So that kind of was a turning point in my relationship with my wife, is the day when she started to work with me. And until today, that was a second key to kind of helping our relationship get to the second level. Also, another thing that helped is being part of the EO organization, so the entrepreneur organization, which is worldwide. Like I mentioned, it's an organization where only entrepreneurs are part, and we're kind of creates an ecosystem where entrepreneurs meet once a month to discuss and debate of their own problems, whether it's business, personal, or different type of problems. It gives you kind of a sounding board or kind of a mentor or an advisory board. And what that helped us with is because now I was with other entrepreneurs and kind of, sharing our experiences, try to see how they dealt with the different type of issues that I was going through. But that also gave my wife a support system, because their partners also kind of spoke with my wife and helped her and, talk about, what we were going through and living. So those, I would tell you, would be kind of the three factors that really helped my relationship with my wife and my kids and family. Is that initially we kind of agreed upon our both our respective roles, then had implicated my wife in the project, so we're both working on the same project, and finally having a good support system where we could really exchange on our issues and learn from others that went through these problems. Because we kind of always think that the problems that we have are just the problems that we had, but a lot of people had a lot of problems similar to what we're going through. And it's funny because somebody once told me the importance of reading, and he said to me, it's just so important to read a lot of books, because what it does, everybody, there's already somebody that already went through the same problems that we went through and problems that we're going to go through in our future. And the more you read, the more you kind of learn how these people went through these experiences. And that is why reading is such a powerful tool in self-development. Now, I want to finish this first segment with an analogy that I've been told so many times, and I don't know if you've heard it, but it goes as follows. Okay, so imagine life is a game in which you're juggling 5 balls. These balls are called work, family, health, friends, and integrity. And you're keeping all of them in the air, because in everyday life, we're kind of juggling through all these different teams, right? Between your work, your family, the health, your friends, and your integrity. But one day, you finally come to understand that work is a rubber ball, okay? You could drop it, and if you drop it, it's going to bounce back. But in contrast, the other balls, which are, family, health, friends, and integrity, are made of glass. And if you drop one of those balls, it will be irrevocably scuffed, broken, nicked, and perhaps even shattered. So once you understand this lesson of the 5 balls, you will have the beginnings of your balance in your life. But that brings another issue, because a lot of people talk about having a good balance between, work, life, the family life and health and etc. But I went to a conference last week, which, there were about 100 executives, and we spent a couple of days with Jack Welch. So, the old GE chairman, president and chairman. And he had mentioned that it's not about having a balance between life and work, because there is no balance. It's all about choices. And I found that remark so important, because there's a lot of people that expect to have it all and still have a well-balanced work, family life balance, which I don't think it's realistic. And when he talks about choices, it's really about what do you want as a person in your life. So if you decide to make that choice and be home every day or 3 times a week at 3 p.m. because you need to go bring your kids to soccer or be a soccer coach, for example, in the Little League, well, you can't expect that you might be the next, top VP in your company, that you will be the next CEO of the company. You can't expect to start a business and be very successful. So there's nothing about being right or wrong here, but it's all about making choices and being comfortable with these choices. So let's go to break now, and we'll come back with the topic of the week.
What's going on behind the scenes with your favorite Voice America show or host? For the latest news, visit the iRadio blog at iradioblog.com.
Hi, I'm your customer. We've been together for a while, but sometimes it feels like you take me for granted. Sure, you answer when I call. You tell me things will be all right, but I feel like we're growing apart. Maybe it's time we, start seeing other people.
Your customers have more options than ever to take their business across the street, and many believe that the competition is more eager to have their business than you are. What are you doing to make sure your customers are happy, satisfied, loyal?
Please leave a message after the tone.
Can you send another technician?
You guys are the worst company. Can I speak to the supervisor?
This isn't working. How many times are we going to...
What is wrong with you guys? Can we fix this once and for all?
Do I have a contract with you? This is ridiculous.
No, it doesn't work. It just doesn't.
Thank you for calling.
Don't confuse customer satisfaction with customer service. Utopia Image helps you map out the entire client interaction and provides an organic approach to make sure that the issues that make your customers unhappy are really being fixed in real time. Call Utopia Image 1-866-242-5592 or utopiaimage.com.
We're making it easier to listen to the Voice America Talk Radio Network wherever you go. In addition to listening live, you can check out information about your favorite talk show hosts, discover new talk show personalities, add shows to your list of favorites, and listen to all our show archives on demand. All from your iPhone, BlackBerry, or Android. Download it from the Apple App Store, BlackBerry App World, or Android Market, and get ready to tune in. The Voice America mobile app, powered by Aircast.
Entrepreneurial Insights is your weekly excursion into the world of business ownership. Presented by Sunbelt Business Brokers, the leading business brokerage and intermediary firm in the world, Entrepreneurial Insights will examine critical issues that impact both existing and prospective business owners. If you own or want to own a small business, listen for Entrepreneurial Insights with John Davies, Pino Baccinello, and Matt Ottaway. Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Business Channel.
When it comes to business, you'll find the experts here. Voice America Business Network.
Welcome back to the Entrepreneur Show. This is Anthony Lacopo, and today we're dealing with the following topic. Show me the money. That's right, the money. one of the key pieces to the entrepreneurship puzzle. Money, it seems, causes as many problems as it solves. It plays an essential part, though, in the success of any company, but sometimes changes the entrepreneurs, and it sometimes changes the people around them. As an entrepreneur, money is certainly a reward, a challenge, a target, a means to an end, and it's a way to measure our success. So how do entrepreneurs deal with the money issue? And when we talk about money, it's with different angles, right? We talk about money and how do you finance the company, the new project. It's money. How does an entrepreneur get paid, when he starts a new company? And then there's the personal money for themselves. How do they manage this money? And then there's also the perception of people around entrepreneurs who are non-entrepreneurs that kind of perceive entrepreneurs kind of in a bad way. They think that people that make money are usually not good people or people that bend the system, and there's a lot of jealousy out there, and it forces kind of a bad reputation on entrepreneurs. So money has a lot of impact in an entrepreneur. And for this second segment, I want to talk more about money, but money of, how did I survive the first couple of years with no external investment? How was I able to start a company that went, from my basement with no contract, zero, all the way to, today, 200, employees, without having any really exterior big financing to support the growth? Because when you run a slow and really business that doesn't grow very rapidly, money is not that big of an issue. Because, you can manage, the increase of expenses and so forth. The big challenge is really when you're having hyper growth. And that's when, the money is so critical to the success of a company. And it's no more about how great or how good the idea is, but it is how much money do you have or you could secure to support the fast growth of any new project. And that is crucial in any success. So I want to talk about my company and how I was able to finance maybe our growth initially without looking externally. Because one of my key issue was I don't want to bring any external person with financing to initially at an early stage in the company, because I had a very unique vision and I wanted to make sure that that vision was not going to get influenced at a very early stage by people with a money oriented or money focused perception of the project. So that's why it kind of limited me of the type of investment that I was going to take in the business initially. So my company, when I started, like I mentioned it on the first episode, is like I took, even before starting a project, I took really a line of credit to kind of finance my initial investment in the company. And once you do that, once you put skin in the game, your own skin, you kind of really, you work and with kind of no net under you, right? So if you don't succeed, it's gonna hurt. You're gonna be able to get back up, but it's gonna hurt. So it's really important to kind of plan your projects and plan how you're gonna finance. So initially it was easy. When I started my company, I need to hire a couple of people. My personal line of credit was sufficient. But what happened when the growth happened? Because when the growth happens, a lot of financial institutions around you don't look to, you might see this very positive of signing new big deals, or you need to invest in new infrastructure to support the growth. But the financial institution around you are kind of uneasy with that type of growth. They're kind of scared to give you money because it's kind of going too fast, and they're scared that you're going to lose control. And that was the point with me. And for a couple of, I would say for a couple of years, 18 months, my life in the company was really hectic. And it was kind of, the team was around those couple of months, 18 months to 24 months, was sleepless night. Every single day, the only thing I was managing was my cash flow, because I was growing so fast and I had no money from the banks that I needed to find ways to finance it personally. And that's what we call love money, right? You look at, friends, family, you look at, your personal investment in it, and to finance that fast growth. And that created a lot of stress, in managing a business, because now it kind of takes the focus from managing your product, your services, and the strategy with your business to kind of 100% focusing on the cash flow. And I remember one of the entrepreneurs in the MIT when I was doing my course there had such a great quote or a great statement about cash flow and it's so true, and it completely changed, the how you see business. And the quote was as follow, and it's about cash flow. And he said to me, he goes, Anthony, cash flow is more important than your mother. And it was kind of very funny. I laughed when he had said it to me, but truly understood, the meaning of that statement, really. And any businesses will succeed and fail based on their cash flow. And it's not about, really how good your idea is. Because you can have the best idea, but if you don't have the proper financing behind it, your idea will get crushed, will get eliminated. And the next person behind you that has a great, financing model or a lot of money to be able to finance a project will kind of pick up your idea for nothing and be able to bring it to another level. And that's why a lot of, people sometimes they wonder, why do entrepreneurs with great ideas, they bring in VCs or, angel investors and kind of get diluted, to kind of low percentage? Because it's not about, when you first start a business, and when I started, it's all about having, I want to have 100% of the business. I want to have controlling interest in the business. But you always have to ask yourself the main question. And the question is, do you want to own 100% of a $2 million business? Or do you want to own 10 or 15% of a $100 or $300 million business? And it all comes down to that. And as entrepreneurs, sometimes we fight against that idea. But that's why investors come in, because we kind of look at always VCs or external investments as, they're the ones who want to take everything from us, and we're kind of the creator of the ideas. But you need to understand, what I understood clearly at the beginning is, money is the key to everything. You can have the best idea, but if you don't have the money, you won't go nowhere. And that's why VCs take the risk and invest in companies, and they deserve to get those returns. Now, in my case, I didn't take no VCs until now. And like I mentioned, the reason why is because I have a specific vision for my company. And I don't want it to get influenced at this stage by external factors. So I decided to try to fund myself self-funded through this hyper growth. And it's working until now. But for sure, there's going to be a point in time where I'm going to go get external investments, because we want to build a $100 million business with what I'm doing now. So it's kind of a reality check that we need to always look upon. So there is a couple of tricks that could be used to finance a business on the short term if you don't want to have external investors. And the way I did it is that my cash flow was so demanding every 2 weeks, because we are kind of a people business, so we have a lot of human resources. So the pay every 2 weeks is very heavy on our cash flow. So one way of financing that truly helped me, and that I've discovered it in 18 months after I started a business, is kind of to get paid earlier. So the trick is to manage your cash flow is try to get paid the earliest possible while paying your expenses on a later date. And that will leave cash in your business. And the way I did it is kind of giving a top line discount to my customers in order to get paid within, for example, 10 days instead of the usual 30, 45, 60 days. So we get paid within 10 to 15 days and with a top line discount, which really compensate our the money that would have paid anyways in a line of credit if we had a big line of credit. So I would tell you that was the biggest game changer for me, that completely changed how my company was able to progress. Because the day that I was able to remove the 1% of the top line to get paid earlier, my focus completely changed to managing solely the cash flow, to now spending much more time into the strategy of the company, the new services that we're developing, compared to 100% of the cash flow. So that really helped us, or helped me, be able to get out of this, money crunching, environment. Another thing that truly helped our company is the following, is that, when you talk to your bankers, it's important that you are 100% honest with them. I've developed a relationship with my banker that they know exactly where I stand, where the business stand, where the opportunities stand, and the risk with the business. And it's truly important, because initially, when I had my, my financing with my bank, they kind of didn't know too much what I was doing, the risk associated, and they kind of comparted me with, different types of companies saying, okay, and analyzed my business like any other companies. So what I did is that I had the privilege of meeting the whole team behind my bank institution, from my account manager all the way through the senior VP. And they gave me a couple of hours to go meet with them and present my whole company. And once I spent the time with them to make them understand the risks and the opportunities, it kind of opened their eyes to truly understand me and my company and where we're heading. And when it came time to give me financing, they had less hesitation to give it to me because they truly understand it. And they truly understood where the risks were, and that, maybe giving me the money wasn't that as risky as it was, because they understood. And as an entrepreneur, it's crucial for you to understand where your financial institution stands and your account manager. If you feel that they have no interest in your company, in the future of your company, or where it's going, the opportunities and the risks, then maybe it's time for you to look maybe for an institution that will have a better fit with you. Let's go to break now.
Be sure to friend us on Facebook. You can do it right now. Visit facebook.com/Voice America or search for us at keyword Voice America.
Hi, I'm your customer. We've been together for a while, but sometimes it feels like you take me for granted. Sure, you answer when I call. You tell me things will be all right, but I feel like we're growing apart. Maybe it's time we, start seeing other people.
Your customers have more options than ever to take their business across the street, and many believe that the competition is more eager to have their business than you are. What are you doing to make sure your customers are happy, satisfied, loyal?
Please leave a message after the tone.
Can you send another technician?
You guys are the worst company. Can I speak to the supervisor?
This isn't working. How many times are we going to...
What is wrong with you guys? Can we fix this once and for all?
Do I have a contract with you? This is ridiculous.
No, it doesn't work. It just doesn't.
Thank you for calling.
Don't confuse customer satisfaction with customer service. Utopia Image helps you map out the entire client interaction and provides an organic approach to make sure that the issues that make your customers unhappy are really being fixed in real time. Call Utopia Image 1-866-242-5592 or utopiaimage.com.
Follow the Voice America Talk Radio Network on Twitter. We're at Voice America TRN. You'll get the latest fix on what's happening with our shows, this week's featured guests, and general happenings that you should know about at the Voice America Talk Radio Network. Now you don't have to miss anything when you're away from your home or office. Just go to twitter.com/Voice America TRN or follow along with us at Voice America TRN, the Voice America Talk Radio Network. We're on the cutting edge of social media.
Can you keep up?
There's a course offered on Seventh Wave Network that you never saw offered in college. One that provides information on how to transform ancient wisdom teachings into everyday life. You'll learn how to create from your spirit and explore the world with all of your senses. Participation is encouraged. Enroll in Spirituality 101, the course you can't afford to miss, with your host, Reverend Norma. Class is in session every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 noon Pacific Time, in your favorite classroom, Seventh Wave Network. When it comes to business, you'll find the experts here. Voice America Business Network.
Welcome back to the Entrepreneur Show. This is Anthony Lacopo, and today we're dealing with the following topic. Show me the money. That's right, the money. One of the key pieces to an entrepreneurship puzzle. Money, it seems, causes as many problems as it solves. It plays an essential part in the success of any company, but sometimes changes the entrepreneurs. And it sometimes changes the people around them. As an entrepreneur, money is certainly a reward, a challenge, a target, a means to an end, and a way to measure success. So how do entrepreneurs deal with the money issue? Now, in the last segment, we spoke more about money and, a bit about how I financed the growth of my company and the different ways of, utilizing what's there to help us with our cash flow. Now, in this segment, I just want to talk about more money, but as it affects us personally as an entrepreneur. And money all of a sudden becomes kind of the, when you go from a job or a professional job and you kind of, balancing a budget and you're talking, about, thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars. The biggest impact for me is that when I started in business, then all of a sudden everything got amplified. It's like you're kind of becoming insensitive in a way to, $100, $1,000 because like in my business, like with my cash flow, because we're so intensively invested in resources that, human resources, human capital, we're talking like hundreds of thousands of investments, tens of thousands. And that was kind of the first, kind of wow factor for me when I started the company is that, before my company, I was dealing with my, personal budget and, paying hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars for, certain items and so forth. But then I go in business and all of a sudden you're dealing with, spending, $40,000 for this, $100,000 for this, and money goes by so quickly. And that first, reaction or this first, perception that I had, it was kind of so wow, it's kind of now I'm in the big leagues, talking. So from one day to the other, you're kind of managing, maybe I've had $5,000-$10,000 budget to managing, $1 million or hundreds of thousands of dollars in budget. So that was kind of my first, my first reaction when I started the company. Then, all of a sudden, the other thing that was interesting when I started my business, that all of a sudden, when you're in business, people right away think that, okay, you're making a lot of money and, and that you're kind of successful. They don't realize that most of the money that you're making in the company, is all, I don't know, in my case, all the profit and money that we're making after paying all our expenses, are currently all reinvested in the company because, again, we don't have external investors, so we kind of auto-finance ourselves. So that there's an advantage there because I'm kind of independent and, autonomous, and we could take the direction we want to take. But on the other side, there's no really profit in the company like left to kind of, enjoy it. So people have this perception sometimes that, somebody that's in business, they kind of right away start making a lot of money. Now, to make money in a company, it takes a lot of times, especially the first few years. It's incredible how much money and how much you invest in the company. And if you look at all the hours you put in, if you do look at the hours you put in your company, you kind of realize that, you don't make that much money, at the end of the line. But you have the faith because you're putting in the money, you're putting in all your time because you're going to win later on in life. And it comes back to the concept where I was mentioning earlier on, where you kind of, you can have everything all at once. You invest, you work hard for years, months to finally one day get all, that rewards at the end. And money is a way to kind of measure. When I work in my company, when we work, as entrepreneurs, money is not something that we look for. Money is just, it's a way to evaluate where the company is headed. If we're being successful, if we're reaching targets. But we know us at our company that if we do things right, if we invest the money right and we work right and we take the right decisions today, money will come on, and a lot of it later on in the process. So we don't look at the profit of a company initially to try to make the most money so we can live better lives right away. We kind of look at it as what's the best thing for the company, and try to generate the most money possible, not to enjoy it, but to be able to reinvest it and bring the company to the next step. Now, another topic or another issue that's kind of sensitive is, should we entrepreneurs, especially early on in our project, get paid? Should we get a salary? And, there's a lot of opinions out there that, you should, you shouldn't, and I guess it depends, if you're financed by VCs or angel investors, or if you're self-financed. So there's a lot of opinion. In my case, I could tell you, like, the first year that I was in business, I wasn't really taking any salaries as an entrepreneur. And, the first couple of years, I was working, with a base salary, with a bare minimum, which was about $36,000 a year. And to be quite honest with you, it wasn't, like sometimes we kind of think, okay, it's the salary, it kind of gives you that satisfaction. But in my case, I was working for, $20,000, $30,000, $36,000 for a couple of years when I started my business. And you know what? I felt like I was making $1 million a year, because as an entrepreneur, the best reward is you working in your company for your project, and to be able to do that. And that for me was so exciting that all of a sudden I was out of that, traditional structure of working for a company 9 to 5 and being paid by someone, where I could be independent on my own project and self-sufficient. Just that gave me so much adrenaline and drive and so much happiness that really I was maybe making like $30,000, $36,000 a year, but I felt like I was making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. So that's really, like, for me, that's how I experienced the early stage of my company, where money is not really an issue, but really the success of your company. But like I mentioned, my partner, which was my wife, right? They kind of see, like, she was investing now since 2001, right? So they kind of need to see, and it's important that they see that you evolve and that there's some, positive that comes out of all this, because, they're patient, it's, you can be patient, but at a certain point, it's important to kind of see the rewards come in. And, that happened like in a couple of years after that I started the business. We started being able to pay back certain personal debts that we had, that I invested in the company. And, my salary started growing. And that's when everything starts coming together. And believe me, when that day comes, you're kind of working 10 times even. You feel like a superstar. You feel like you could take on anything. And that's really such an adrenaline drive, because you're all doing this on your own with your employee, with your team, with your family. And it's such a great rush to be in. So for me, like, it was important to take kind of at least a minimum salary at the beginning, and then slowly, start increasing it and start paying some of the debt. So you see a bit of rewards as you're putting all this effort. Because it's easily to forget, or when you're really involved in your project, it's so easy to forget to kind of start taking a salary, because you don't really care about the money that you're making, because you want to make sure the project succeeds. So you're kind of scared to take money away from the company just in case, the project doesn't have enough money to survive. But it's crucial that, every entrepreneur, it's normal that at the beginning you kind of invest everything in the company and you don't take a salary, but there has to be a point where you need to be able to at least take a certain amount of salary to kind of stabilize your lifestyle at the minimum, because it's going to help you yourself. It's going to help you also with your family, because your family will invest with you, will wait, will be patient. But I mean, they won't go on for years, 5-10 years with you, fully invest in this company and not really at least ensuring a certain kind of base minimum lifestyle to your family, and they deserve it. So it's kind of really important for an entrepreneur to kind of address that point and make sure they take out that money. And also another point, why is it important to take a salary? Because you need to see the viability of your business. If after 5 years you're still not able to take a decent salary out of your business, there might be a problem with the business. There might be, a problem maybe with the way it's structured. Maybe there's a way that, there's too many employees. You're not spending your money efficiently in the company. So it's really important to kind of evaluate that whole scenario to make sure you kind of have at least a good lifestyle, while you're developing this company. Because you never know. You might spend 5-10 years in a venture, in a new business, and it maybe doesn't pan out. So you have to really make sure your family is really taken care of while you're doing this new venture. So what do you think out there? Do you have any opinions? How many years have you stayed without maybe taking a salary or very minimum salary? Don't hesitate to write me on Twitter or, post your comments. I'll be glad to answer and, exchange on different experiences. Now let's go to break. And when we come back, we finish with our final segment with the perceptions about entrepreneurship.
We're making it easier to listen to the Voice America Talk Radio Network live wherever you go on iPhone, BlackBerry, or Android. Download it from the Apple iTunes App Store, BlackBerry App World, or Android Market.
Hi, I'm your customer. We've been together for a while, but sometimes it feels like you take me for granted. Sure, you answer when I call. You tell me things will be all right, but I feel like we're growing apart. Maybe it's time we, start seeing other people.
Your customers have more options than ever to take their business across the street, and many believe that the competition is more eager to have their business than you are. What are you doing to make sure your customers are happy, satisfied, loyal?
Please leave a message after the tone.
Can you send another technician?
You guys are the worst company. Can I speak to the supervisor?
This isn't working. How many times are we going to...
What is wrong with you guys? I mean, can we fix this once and for all?
Do I have a contract with you? This is ridiculous.
No, it doesn't work. It just doesn't.
Thank you for calling.
Don't confuse customer satisfaction with customer service. Utopia Image helps you map out the entire client interaction and provides an organic approach to make sure that the issues that make your customers unhappy are really being fixed in real time. Call Utopia Image 1-866-242-5592 or utopiaimage.com. Now there's a new destination for video content, voiceamerica.tv. Just like our radio channels and so much more. Voice America Variety, Health and Wellness, Business, Sports, Green Talk, Power Up Motorsports, and Seventh Wave Network now have their own video channel components. Plus, check out exclusive programming, including movies, music, educational courses, science and history, current events, and short features. High-definition, premier quality programs available 24/7. VoiceAmerica.tv. If you think you've seen online TV like this before, let us surprise you.
Technology is intended to improve our lives and solve the world's problems. But technology in itself is a complex myriad of concepts, ideas, and security. How do we sort it all out? Tune in to Technology Today with host Ajay Gupta. The program will go inside the world of technology with innovators, engineers, CEOs, and government officials. Our topics will include green technology, healthcare technology, and cybersecurity. Listen every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Business Channel.
Welcome back to the Entrepreneur Show. This is Anthony Lacopo, and today we're dealing with the following topic. Show me the money. That's right, the money. One of the key pieces to the entrepreneurship puzzle. Money, it seems, causes as many problems as it solves. It plays an essential part in the success of any company, but sometimes changes the entrepreneurs, and it sometimes changes the people around them. As an entrepreneur, money is certainly a reward, a challenge, a target, a means to an end, in a way to measure success. So how do entrepreneurs deal with the money issue? So I found a quote from Mr. Donald Trump, which was kind of interesting, that comes back to what I just mentioned. And it goes as follows. Money was never a big motivation for me, except as a way to keep score. The real excitement is playing the game. And I think that's relevant for many entrepreneurs out there. Now, what about the money? And what about the perception that people have on entrepreneurs? A lot of people have bad perceptions on people when they make money or when people have a lot of success, which I find a bit sad because a lot of entrepreneurs work so hard. They put their blood out there for their companies. And when they succeed and they make millions and billions of dollars, people frown on that. They seem as, oh, they must have done something crooked, or they're not good people, etc. And to be quite honest with you, before becoming an entrepreneur, I could have maybe understood a bit of that perception. But since I'm an entrepreneur, my view of all this has completely changed. It's incredible how many entrepreneurs are, with their wealth, are creating and are changing our world. Because of entrepreneurs, because people are so wealthy, they're creating new companies and create jobs. They create new projects, new services. Look at everything that we have around us today, and that's because one entrepreneur believed in it. So what's wrong when these entrepreneurs get paid for it? Many people out there talk about entrepreneurs or people that make money that they've changed, that the more money you make, you become a different person, that money influences the type of person you become. And a lot of people are afraid, or they say, don't make too much money, or don't get greedy with money because it will change you. I think all of that is BS, to be quite frank with you. And I really think that money, and this is a statement that I tell the people around me, and is that money only amplifies the true person you are. And that's the same thing, for everything. So if you are a good person, if you're a giving person, when you have, when you don't have millions, when you will have millions or billions of dollars, you'll be the same person, except it just amplifies the true person you really are. So if you're a giving person, you'll give even more. If you're, a person only, focused on yourself, when you have no money, for example, you'll be the same type of person when you have a lot of money. So money doesn't really change you. It kind of just amplifies the person you truly are. And for me, it's exactly it. I remember when I was a teenager, when I was a student, I did so many actions, that I see myself today where I could do the same action, just I try to do them even bigger. So that's one of the statements that I would like people to remember, and that money truly amplifies the real person you truly are within. Now, I came across this article, which was great, and it was talking about money and how people perceive. And it goes back to that initial saying when I was talking about us people being brought up in a system and kind of thinking all the same way. And I want to read you a bit of this article because it's really a great article. And the article is called, "Do You Have a Negative Beliefs About Money and Entrepreneurs?" And it starts as follows. "We all have our demons to struggle with in life. But when it comes to areas of our lives dealing with spiritual, health, wealth, relationships, and several other categories, there is one area where we, and as a society, take issue with, and that is money. So the importance of money is something we learn about early on. Kids learn about money from the weekly allowance. They also see here mom, dad talking about money issues, and from expressions like money doesn't grow on trees, money is the root of all evil, and so many others. As we get older, going through college and moving into the workforce, we are programmed to make a living. We have great goals and ambitions, only to learn that the 9-to-5 game is not getting us there. So we become lazy, entitled, and despondent. Anybody more successful than us are frowned upon. But when we want and need to build a career, a foundation for us and future generations, we are programmed to think and believe certain things about money and wealth, and some get a nasty wake-up call later in life. Almost certainly by this time, a jaded, negative view towards entrepreneurs and for-profit companies is heavily entrenched in our psyche. And then the second paragraph is as follows. Now, as an adult, this conversation will have different outcomes depending on who you speak with. But I surmise that only the top 5% of moneymakers in our population and the real super wealthy have no issues defending their position of having made crazy money and profits for themselves, employees, and their families. The bulk of our populations have a problem dealing with the corporation who seemingly are only out for themselves. And between the patterns and programming from childhood, the media, and the fight to keep up with the Jonases, we tend to automatically bash anybody or anything that looks like they're first making more money than us or somehow taking the money from us and leaving us behind. How can we change this thinking or experience in people's mind? More importantly, learn the ways of entrepreneurship and helping you to win even bigger in life. Now, a question asked in this article goes as follows. Do you think that people who make lots of money are evil? If a corporation is making millions a month, are they automatically a villain? Yes to both. In most cases, capitalism is bad, many will say. In line with this thinking, being an entrepreneur equals low or no morality at all. Even though history shows that the entrepreneurs or business owners have done more good to help create products, services, and jobs that make us happy, safe, productive, and enlightened. From creating striving communities to lifting poverty, entrepreneurs are known to take big risks to make theirs and your lives better. Yet, they always get the last vote, it seems. And finally, I just want to finish the article with the last paragraph where Negative beliefs about money might be holding you back right now. You are worth more than you think. It is likely preventing you from being the best you can be. And think about it. You are stopping others from doing or being the same by the light you would shine on them. Change your mindset and learn new things. Then unleash your new thinking and approach onto the world. As Mr. Butcher says, it's self-actualization and not self-sacrifice. At the end, so that's the end of the article, but at the end of all this, it all comes back to us. Do we want to value entrepreneurship, or do we all think that entrepreneurs are people that take advantage of other people? I would like to think that entrepreneurs are the ones that create a lot of wealth for societies. The more these entrepreneurs create new products, new services, the more our environment is going to be better, the more our societies would evolve, the more people will get connected closer in their social environment. And the more money these people make, the more money they will reinvest in society. Look at Bill Gates. Look at all these people, Steve Jobs, that what they're doing with their wealth. They're creating new businesses, they're creating new products, and that comes to creating new jobs, better jobs for societies. So we need to stop thinking that money is evil. We need to start thinking that we need to make the most money that we could, because the more money we have, the more independent we become in the decision of what to do with that money. And once we have that independence and we could do whatever we want with that money, that's when true power comes about. And that's when we could truly make a difference in our society. And I believe that entrepreneurs are the key to developing a better society and a better world. This concludes this week's show, and I hope this gave you some perspective on entrepreneurship and money. Tune in next week as we target a new topic on entrepreneurship.
Everything we've done in these over 30 years are about that vision of personal computing.
Keep on moving your dream forward, because there is something magical about sticking to your dream longer than anyone around you thinks you have a right to stick to that dream.
When you give everyone a voice and give people power, the system usually ends up in a really good place.
It is really what you give the world that you get back from the world.
One of the best things you can do is to spend some time each day thinking. Because what's the point of getting to the top of your mountain, realizing you did the wrong things?
Stay hungry, stay foolish.